Viewers, good evening. You're watching India Upfront. Thank you for joining us. On your screens will be a pair of visuals that should alarm any right-thinking Indian. On the one hand, we have a tribute event for a man named Hassan Nasrallah who was killed by Israel recently. Nasrallah, viewers, shot to limelight posthumously for having been the chief of Hezbollah, the terror group that is these days masquerading as a quasi-sovereign political outfit. The visuals are of a condolence meeting that happened for Nasrallah not in Beirut or elsewhere in Lebanon, but in the heart of the national capital. Yes, viewers, in heart of New Delhi, a prayer meet for a slain terrorist commander who really had nothing to do with India. How's that for food for thought? On the other side of the screen are visuals of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Israeli counterpart Netanyahu. The two prime ministers held a phone call yesterday where PM Modi took a strident stand against terror and at the same time cautioned against escalation, made a pitch for peace. However, his phone call with Netanyahu hasn't gone down well with the Congress and its allies, the ecosystem as we call them. To the Congress, the Prime Minister is a Vishwagyani for speaking to Netanyahu. That's the taunt they have thrown. To the Congress, the Prime Minister only wants to hawk the headlines and his stance against global terrorism is meaningless because for the last 16 months, the state of Manipur has been gripped by violence and strife. So is this what it has come to, viewers? A global terrorism, a global terrorist being eulogized in New Delhi and the Prime Minister of India being mocked for taking a stand against terror? Do the Congress or its allies really believe that the leader of the most populous nation on earth cannot impact the growing conflict in the Middle East? Do they really think that disruption in the Middle East will not hurt India? Do they believe that the very concerning situation in Manipur means that everything else, viewers, everything else must be put on hold? Did the Prime Minister not bear upon both Russia and Ukraine to exercise restraint to ensure the return of Indian students there? Is it not a matter of pride that India can push for peace openly to the leaders of Russia, Ukraine or Israel? Or does the Congress see virtue in its own way of doing things? Like we saw in 2008. Yes, let's go back in time when the then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh told US President George Bush that the people of India love him. The same George Bush that began two wildly disruptive and long-running wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. That very month, viewers, as Manmohan Singh was startling even George Bush with his effusive praise, there had been fatal communal clashes in Odisha and a series of bomb blasts in Delhi, Gujarat and Malegaon in Maharashtra. Should PM Manmohan Singh have instead told Bush that he cannot praise him right now because of more important domestic developments? Why not take a stand against terror instead? Why not call out those celebrating the life and deeds of Hezbollah terror boss? Or does the Congress also think we in India should observe 3 days of national mourning for Nasrallah? Viewers, why glorify Nasrallah? Why villainize Modi is the question tonight.
प्रधानमंत्री हैं, वो क्या बोलते हैं, क्या नहीं बोलते हैं, अपनी एक इंटरनेशनल इमेज बनाने में लगे रहते हैं। वो ट्रेन से बैठ के चले गए अभी सोवियत रूस की सीमा पर यूक्रेन में, अब यहाँ बोल रहे हैं। यहाँ सुन कौन रहा है इनकी? पर ये जरूर मैं कहना चाहता हूँ कि उन्हें मणिपुर पे ज्यादा ध्यान देना चाहिए, जिसके लिए सीधे सीधे वो जिम्मेदार है। वहाँ के कभी गए नहीं वो।
People in India are going to ask that when there is a civil war like situation in one state which your party is ruling, when they tell the BJP that, what is the answer that the Prime Minister has?
Congress party needs to come out beyond Manipur. Manipur is a sensitive area. All of us need to work together, going on. Let Congress party stop stoking fire in the cauldron of Manipur.
You heard the reactions. Let's open this up. Tuhin Sinha, national spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Karan Verma, political analyst. Vibhuti Jha, ex-Republican candidate, commentator on geopolitics. Sanjay Jha, author, analyst. Vivek Srivastav, IP Singh, national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, completes the panel. Sanjay Jha, I want to begin by asking you, instead of going after the ecosystem, mainstream political leaders who are glorifying Nasrallah, why is the Congress finding faults with what the Prime Minister tweeted? His phone call with Netanyahu, after which he said, look, there is no space for terror.
Pranesh, I have come on your program on the assurance that I will not be interrupted when I speak, and I promise to you that I will keep my part extremely short. Let me start. I want to make two big points here. Number one, the International Court of Justice and the UN Secretary General, some of the highest positions in the world, neutral, non-political, have called Mr. Netanyahu's government a government that has committed genocide in Gaza and a government that has practiced apartheid blatantly. You know how many people have died so far thanks to the Israeli aggression? 41,000. Most of them innocent women and children. Guess what Mr. Modi's government does? This shameless government, whose foreign policy can be written at the back of a postage stamp, because there is only one word to write, disaster, so did not support, in fact, abstained from a UN resolution that called for an end to illegal Israeli occupation of Palestine. Point number one. Point number two. Since Mr. Sinha and most of the cheerleaders of the right wing are going to, I know what they're going to say, let me ask a question. Has Mr. Modi's government called Hezbollah a terrorist organization? I haven't heard it. Has Jaishankar said it? Has the Foreign Secretary said it? Has Narendra Modi said it himself? I haven't heard that. Because Hezbollah, I thought when you were introducing, I don't know why you took the liberty to say so, Hezbollah is also, like it or not, a political party. Like it or not, they are part of the parliament. Hezbollah has ministers in the Lebanon government. And the truth is that Hezbollah has a unique position in Middle Eastern politics because of the fact that it has support of Iran. And my question therefore comes, is India under Mr. Modi saying that we are not going to care for the issues actually involving Palestinian autonomy because we want to be an American puppet? The truth is that Mr. Modi's government foreign policy is echoing the American policy, which is being driven by defense deals with Israel.
Okay. Now, Sanjay Jha, 1 minute. Let me ask you this. I'm reading what the Prime Minister tweeted. And I'm quoting now. Spoke to Prime Minister Netanyahu about recent developments in West Asia. Terrorism has no place in our world. It is crucial to prevent regional escalation and ensure the safe release of all hostages. India is committed to supporting efforts for an early restoration of peace and stability. Which part, which word of what I have read, what was tweeted by the Prime Minister is troublesome, is problematic to you?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that question, Pranesh. The problem is the hypocrisy of Mr. Modi's tweet. The India in the United Nations does not even back a resolution for ending the illegal occupation of Palestine. It doesn't. Mr. Modi says, I worry about terror. Who's doing the terrorism? I would like to take an alternative viewpoint. If under Netanyahu, 41,000 people are dead, why is America and why is India not condemning it? Why are we quiet? In fact, there are news reports, very disturbing news reports, Pranesh. You're a veteran journalist, you probably know it. You can Google it as we talk. That has India been supplying arms to Israel during this Gaza crisis, which means we are equally guilty of perpetrating the genocide that's going on. There are fundamental issues here.
You know, Mr. Jha, because you're talking so much about the principle and terror, let me ask you this. In fact, let me quote to you what Nasrallah had said about the October 7 attack on Israel by Hamas. He congratulated the resisting Palestinian people and the heroic fighters of Palestinian factions. Was that terror or not? You speak your mind. I want you to take a position.
Yeah, Pranesh, listen, everybody's taken a position on it.
Was it terror or not?
The position is categorical. The position is explicit that the Hamas attack on October 7th has to be condemned in the strongest possible.
And Nasrallah's endorsement of that attack has to be condemned. But look at what your allies are doing. Let's bring in Vibhuti Jha. Vibhuti ji, how would you first, describe this glorification of Nasrallah in India? And what is your message to people who are still in denial about the terror antecedents of Hezbollah?
Are you asking me this question?
Yes, sir.
I do not
That's
know.
for you.
I did not hear anything that you were talking about and what Sanjay Jha mentioned. I had the unique challenge that I could not make out anything what you said. So could you repeat the question again?
Yeah, my question to you, Vibhuti Jha, is very simple. There is a situation in our country where many political leaders, mainstream political parties at that, are openly glorifying Nasrallah. They refuse to take the stand that he was a terrorist. I want you to tell people like Sanjay Jha and others on the panel what you make of Hezbollah and the terror antecedents of both Hezbollah and Nasrallah.
From whatever I understood by your question, which was very inaudible kind of thing, but I have a few points to make given the fact, the topic that you have talked about, Nasrallah is being treated as a hero and Modi as a villain. Mr. Modi made the statement very clear. He has, for the first ever time, India has succeeded in making terror and terrorism as a global platform conversation. It had never happened before during Congress regime. It was always the internal matter of India. The point of the matter is very simple. I had the privilege of sharing a platform with General Malik after the Kargil war. And what he said was rather remarkable, that for us, it is country first, battalion next, and me last. In the Congress party regime, it was always me Congress, and my challenges. The issue here is very important. For country, the code is very clear, country first, regardless of everything else. The code next and core thereafter. This is a totally missing platform here. Prime Minister Modi has very well articulated the position, terror has no place. And he was very unequivocal and very articulate about saying so, that terror has no place in the world. What is important here, Pranay, to know about it, that these people, these very people, when they put religious supremacy over a country, then you have a problem. And that's what the Congress party always does. So look at Omar Abdullah's statement. You know, they are talking about 1.4 crore people are the country is going to 140 crore people. Isn't that a secessionist statement? That needs to be condemned outright. The other element also is very important is that, you know, you have no policy. You have an agenda. Criticizing Modi is a pastime of Congress party. That's all they want to do ever. That's exactly what they do, not realizing that the Nasrallah was a terrorist. He was eliminated. They were taking shelter under the various freedoms that democracy offers. They have learned the art of subverting democratic principles in the name of XYZ, their own priorities. Vote bank, street violence, and victimhood.
Well said, sir. And you know, women and children that Sanjay Jha was talking about, organizations like Hezbollah and individuals like Nasrallah use women and children as pawns. They have no hesitation in using them as pawns, as terror shield. Let's bring in Vivek Srivastava. Vivek Srivastava, what is wrong if the Prime Minister takes a strident stand against terror? If he says there is zero space for terror, there should be peace, he's warned against escalation, what is the problem?
No. They are only words. I don't even believe his tweet, and I don't even believe that is the content of the talk he had with Netanyahu. When you are supplying manpower over there for jobs, sending Indian to Israel to help Israel, when you are trying to sell arms and ammunition, as many media houses are reporting, I mean, and then you are doing a simple lip service to Palestine, I think you have taken India way back.
But Mr. Vivek Srivastava, you say I am not ready to believe. 1 minute, sir. This is that same narrative that we want proof of surgical strike. Now you want phone call transcripts to be made public. And what he's and his conversation with 1 minute, sir.
Okay,
his conversation with Palestine is lip service to you. On what basis have you drawn this conclusion? Were you listening to the phone call?
आप बताइए. If that is not so, why is he sending the Indians to work in Israel? Why is he sending the labor workforce from here to Israel? Why are we supporting Israel through arms and ammunitions? Why did we not support the United Nations resolution for ceasefire in that area? We have taken a stand
Vivek Srivastava, I'm sure you know. 1 minute, sir. Geopolitics, diplomatic maneuvers are not easy as making an argument on a 1 minute, sir, on a TV debate.
Yeah.
Tuhin Sinha.
Yes.
Tuhin Sinha.
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Sanjay Jha and Vivek Srivastava
Yes.
won't trust what the Prime Minister has tweeted. They say this is lip service.
This government, this party is Islamophobic.
Yeah.
Anything to do with, yes, all lip service. He is anti-Palestine.
Islamophobic? Was Nasrallah Islamophobic? Vivek Srivastava, was Nasrallah Islamophobic? Was Nasrallah Islamophobic? Do you know the number of Muslims he killed? Vivek Srivastava, now answer that question. I am going to call off this bluff and bluster. ये यहाँ नहीं चलेगा. Vivek Srivastava, sorry. Vivek Srivastava, was Nasrallah Islamophobic? Yes or no? Answer that question. Do you know what he said about Shias?
Yeah.
How many Muslims he killed? He was not just Islamophobic, he was homophobic.
Okay.
Will you call him Islamophobic? Will you call him a terrorist?
Okay. Now let me respond. No, I will not call him an Islamophobic.
Yeah, there you go. You will not call him. Was he a terrorist? Was he a terrorist?
No. But then you have to condemn
He was not
Israel.
a terrorist. No.
You have to condemn Israel as a terror state also. You cannot have double
October.
standards.
Vivek Srivastava, are you out of your mind?
Netanyahu is
What happened on October 7th?
Netanyahu is also
Don't lose your cool like this. Vivek Srivastava, calm down. Calm down, sir. Calm down. Let's have Vivek Srivastava, calm down. By doing this, you are exposing yourself. Don't do that.
Is also a terrorist.
Why do you refuse to call Nasrallah a terrorist?
I am not exposing myself.
You are condoning terror. It is a dangerous thing to do. You are playing with fire. Don't do that. Do not do that.
Sir.
What is left of the left?
No. You
are 1 minute, sir. What is left of the left?
When
nothing. Virtually nothing. I think you are 1 minute, sir. You are an example. You are an example, Vivek Srivastava, of how the left has made itself irrelevant. Tuhin Sinha, answer the question. Karan, I am coming to you after this.
Pranesh, good evening, Pranesh. Good evening, everybody. Pranesh, on 22nd September, Prime Minister Modi had met Palestine President Mahmoud Abbas in New York on the sidelines of the Summit of the Future. And on 30th September, he calls up Prime Minister Netanyahu and discusses peace. You know, that India's objective is twofold. It is very clear. It is India stands for peace in West Asia, and number two, India has zero tolerance towards terrorism. Now, what is it about, this tweet and Prime Minister's call to Netanyahu which can rattle the Congress party so much? That is something which is beyond my comprehension. See, I'll take some time to make you, to tell you what is the difference between India's stand on Israel-Palestine vis-a-vis the Congress party stand. India is unapologetic about its brilliant equation with Israel in the last 10 years. That's point number one. Point number two, India under Modi traditionally, it supports the just Palestine cause, principally supports it. But point number three, we have zero tolerance towards terrorism. In fact, Prime Minister Modi was the first leader in the world to call out the 7th October act as a terror attack, which Congress till day has not called as a terror attack. Now, what is the Congress party stand towards Israel-Palestine? Priyanka Gandhi believes that Israel is barbaric. Is that the official stated position of India? Certainly not. So the Congress has its own position. Number two, when it comes to Palestine, while the Congress overtly supports the Palestine cause, till date, the Congress party has not condemned the Hamas for its terror attack. Rather, on 27th October, exactly 20 days after the attack on Israel last year, Khalid Mashal, an ex-Hamas chief, had addressed an online rally at Malappuram, barely 100 kilometers from Wayanad. Did Rahul Gandhi or Priyanka Gandhi condemn it? They did not. So therefore, we suspect that the Congress party's support for Palestine is a closet support for Hamas. That is the difference between BJP, that is the difference between Prime Minister Modi's government and this Congress party, and the bluff
Answer
of
that
this
question,
Congress
Sanjay
party
Jha.
needs
Answer
to be
that
called
question
out.
quickly.
They believe
Quick response.
the perpetrator is
Pranesh,
the victim.
yeah. Tuhin, let me come in. Let me answer you, Tuhin. Tuhin, let me answer you very quickly. Mr. Jha and Mr. Sinha are giving lectures on national security. Let me tell you the truth. The BJP is the most incompetent government when it comes to national security. It is just to mislead the people of India for votes. The IC 184 hijack showed to you as to this government did not even know what the left hand was doing and what the right hand was doing. And we allowed a dreaded terrorist to be released, escorted by India's external affairs minister. The Kargil war that Mr. Jha was talking about, he should know that. Because the shepherds had to alert the Indian military that there were people from the Pakistan side who had crossed into Indian territory. There was an intelligence failure under Vajpayee's government. Third,
Mr. Jha, 1 minute. Mr. Jha, you're not answering the question. One minute. This kind of whataboutery will not take us anywhere. If you talk about Kargil, then people will talk about other wars that we fought and the intelligence failures and the monumental blunders, lapses, therein that have been documented. I don't want to do that. 1 minute. We've had many conversations around it. I'm just asking you one question. What is this, constant Manipur parallel that you draw in everything? The Manipur mein nahi hua, the Prime Minister should talk about Manipur.
Okay, I will tell you why, Pranesh, and you as a very responsible journalist, and we all as citizens of this country, at least those who are citizens of India on the panel, we should worry about Manipur because
who said we are not worrying about Manipur?
Just a minute.
But who said? Sanjay Jha, you see, this is the problem. No, 1 minute. It's a 1 minute, sir. This theory, this hypothesis that we are not worried just because the Prime Minister is not going there does not mean that we are not worried about Manipur. You tell me, after the 26/11 attack, who was the Prime Minister during 26/11 attack? Sanjay Jha? No, I'm asking you, who was the Prime Minister?
Have you heard?
I'm asking you, who was the Prime Minister, sir?
मैं जवाब दे रहा हूँ भाई साहब.
Sanjay Jha, please, sir, please, let's do this, please.
Let me answer you.
No, I'm asking you. I'll answer everything that you'll ask me. Just answer this question. Who was the Prime Minister during 26/11?
Okay, now let me answer your question.
No, I'm telling you, Manmohan Singh should have gone instead of sending Shivraj Patil. He did not go. Does that mean that he was not interested?
Okay.
So, let's not trivialize the debate by saying Manipur. 1 minute. Manipur is sensitive. The government of the day has said that let's all collectively. Tomorrow, IP Singh will be asked, has Akhilesh Yadav gone there? By doing this, we are doing a disservice and trivializing the debate. Let's not do that. Karan.
1.5 years, Mr. Modi is missing in action. Can you imagine?
Karan.
Now, Mr. Jha, I hope you extend the same courtesy. I was not interrupting when you were speaking. So, Pranesh, there's so much of lies that Sanjay Jha always manages to peddle. I have respect for him, but when he's factually incorrect, then it really pains me. He just said that, in national security, internal security has gone down during the BJP. Just so he knows, 56% infiltration down, red corridor absolutely obliterated from the root. Stone pelting incidents gone in Jammu and Kashmir. Just to give you an example, in 2008 alone, Pranesh, we had 70 blasts in the country. That is where we were in terms of national security back in 2008. Now, coming to what happened on October 7th, and I can't believe someone like Sanjay Jha can actually rationalize that. Nothing can be more explicit than what Hezbollah chief had said at that time. And in fact, Yahya Sinwar, the Hamas chief, he thanked Hezbollah's chief, Nasrallah. He said, your support has made it possible. And Nasrallah said, the tacit way in which you executed it is praiseworthy. And right after that, the next day on 8th October, they started launching rockets into northern Israel. 9,000 rockets launched, 1 lakh Israelis dislodged. Does that need a certificate of whether they are terrorists or not? I can't believe Sanjay Jha is trying to rationalize this. Of course they were designated terrorists. Of course they went after the innocents. In which vein can you defend that? And when that person is eliminated, his chief has banged children's head against the wall. They've raped women, they've beaten children, they've killed them, mutilated them. And then you say, oh, were they really terrorists? Of course they were terrorists. And why should he be glorified when someone like him dies? You're trying to draw parallels with what's happening in Manipur and other issues. Where does your politics actually stop? Let's at least have the guts to call a terrorist. And our friend Vivek Srivastava, I mean, he calls everyone Islamophobic, where in China, 1.5 million Uyghur Muslims are interned, force-fed pork. There is not a single leftist country, communist nation, where Islam is virtually not banned. Even keeping a beard is not banned. And there is not a single Islamic nation where the Communist Party is not banned. And then he has the gall to come here and preach about Islamophobe to everyone. I mean, irony dies a thousand deaths.
Why go to China? If you mention China, Vivek Srivastava will get rattled. I don't want him to, get up and leave the show. I just want to once again ask him simple question. Vivek Srivastava, do you believe Nasrallah was Islamophobic?
Yeah. Yes. Okay, now please give me some time. Number one, I think Karan needs to read more. There was a conference of 75 communist parties from about 68 nations in Turkey, where there is a very strong communist party. Pakistan has a very strong communist party. Bangladesh has got a communist party. He doesn't know.
So
great examples before you talk to me.
Number two, nations.
If somebody is doing an act now. Number two, and this meeting in Turkey of all the communist parties was to pass a resolution against Israel and support the cause of Palestine, and this meeting was held about a year back, or maybe 1.5 years back.
1 minute, sir. Vivek Srivastava, 1 minute. Taking off from, what you are saying. Where is the problem? You are talking about extending support to Palestine. The Prime Minister has spoken to the Palestinian leadership, has he not? Yes. We are talking about calling out Hamas. Hamas is an out-and-out terrorist organization. So is Hezbollah.
I'll tell you.
Will you take a position against Nasrallah? I have a dossier on him, things that he's said. On the basis of that, will you call him a terrorist, an Islamophobe?
Yes. I have a dossier on Israel. I have a dossier on America. I have a dossier on war crimes by America. You want me to read it out?
I want you to read the China dossier.
War crimes by Israel. You want me to read it out?
I want you to read the China dossier. Vivek Srivastava,
yes.
Read the China dossier first. Read the China dossier. Let's talk about the conditions of Muslim in China.
No. China.
Yes, China. Yeah, China.
Yeah, it's an old point. 3-4 years, 3-4 साल से आप एक ही point बोल रहे हैं, sir.
But nothing has changed. Nothing has changed, Vivek Srivastava. Nothing has changed.
Muslim countries would not have supported China.
Nothing has changed.
Sir, you can follow. Sir, you are buying into American media and American propaganda. Why should I? The Prime Minister loves America and toes the American line. Why should I? America is Islamophobe. You have destroyed Muslim countries and created Islamic jihad and Islamic terrorism. You destroyed Afghanistan, you destroy Iraq, you jump into Kuwait, you are trying to interfere via Israel with Palestine, you make the Saudi royal family invest money into you. This is the geopolitics the Americans are doing.
Add one more point to what you're saying. You said that, no, 1 minute. Add the point. I'm giving you more points to go after America. Vivek Srivastava, now you say that America created Al-Qaeda and Al-Qaeda attacked America and did 9/11. Say that.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. America created the Taliban to counter the communist Russians, and then it is the same Taliban and the Al-Qaeda nexus which went against it.
You see, terror is not terror for you, it is action-reaction. People like Vivek Srivastava. Vivek Srivastava, you should not be talking about human rights, because every time you talk about human rights, 1 minute, every time you talk about human rights, people will laugh at what you say. You do not care about human rights, because had you cared, you would not be speaking up for organizations like Al-Qaeda. Vibhuti Jha, what would you...
Yes.
I began by saying that no right-thinking individual, it's not about parties, nationalities, no right-thinking individual will glorify violence, terror. But here, there's a celebration going on. This is Jalsa. Vibhuti Jha.
I have had the unique distinction of being out of the conversation today, because the audio was very bad. I don't know whether you can hear me at all, but I will just say only one thing, is that unless and until the Congress party abandons its policy of appeasement and pandering to specific religious sects, you are not going to see any solution to them. Here is the party whose prime leader, Shashi Tharoor, goes and lambasts Pakistan in Oxford Union, but he doesn't have the ability to tell his own party men who are constantly seeking Pakistan terrorists and other help to dismantle Modi government and Indian government.
You know, on a lighter note, I'm sure Shashi Tharoor has what it takes to tell the leadership, only that he does not want to, you know, be in a position where Sanjay Jha is. Sanjay Jha dared to show mirror to the Congress leadership. You've written about it. And look what has happened to Sanjay Jha.
Let me answer that, Pranesh. Pranesh, let me answer. Mr. Jha has talked about, Congress, but let me expose the country that he comes from. United States gives $4 billion annually to Israel for guess what? For buying arms.
There are many people. There are Sanjay Jha, I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm only saying this for the benefit of our viewers that this fascinating conversation between Vibhuti Jha and Sanjay Jha, people must know that this is just to put things on record. Vibhuti Jha is the elder brother of Sanjay Jha. Go ahead, Sanjay.
Okay. Yeah. So my point is that Mr. Jha has mentioned, we have political differences, and I think we are very mutually respectable about that. Here is my point. Mr. Jha talks about Israel here with a great degree of sanctity. But do the viewers know that America gives $4 billion annually to Israel to buy arms, and the condition is they must buy arms from America. So America.
No, but Sanjay Jha, 1 minute. You tell me, what is the fundamental problem in safeguarding your own land, in safeguarding your own people? Where is the problem?
Pranesh, America's defense industry flourishes with Ukraine, with Gaza, with Lebanon. That's what Americans want. That's what Mr. Jha wants. They like war because it boosts the American economy. This is the entire deal with Israel.
Vivek Srivastava has given you a thumbs up. I'm sure that is the endorsement that you... He's also clapping. Vivek Srivastava is so happy. When was the last time Vivek Srivastava was elated like this on the show?
Well said.
Vivek Srivastava, you were talking about action, reaction. If somebody were to ask you that Israel is doing what it is in reaction to the October 7 attack, फिर आप क्या बोलेंगे? Then you will shift the goalpost.
No. मैं ये बोलूंगा कि I'll tell you two things. Please listen to me very carefully. Jawaharlal Nehru, 1948, we did not allow an Israeli embassy. We did not recognize it as a state. The first full-fledged American Israeli embassy in India was in the 1990s. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was dead against Israel.
1 minute, sir. 1 minute.
Ask Mr.
1 minute. From Nehru to Vajpayee, you left you left many in between.
Yes.
1 minute.
Yes.
1971 war, India was forced to reach out to Israel.
Everybody supported.
US had extended its support to Islamabad. Israel chose to answer India's call for help. It is fact.
Yes. The 7th Fleet, yes.
Then?
No, Israel did not.
Of course it did.
The 7th Fleet of the Americans came via the sea, and it is the communist Russian submarines which stood for
communist submarine is the...
This is the real history.
Yeah, communist submarine.
Yes.
Okay, IP Singh ji.
Yes, the communist Russian submarines.
Okay, let me bring in IP Singh ji. IP Singh ji hasn't spoken. 1 minute. अब उनके बीच में मत बोल. IP Singh ji, आज सवाल क्या है बताइए आप.
जी सवाल यही है कि अगर देखा जाए तो लेट यासर आराफात के साथ भारत के रिश्ते कैसे थे, पंडित अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी जी के उनके रिश्ते कैसे थे, फलस्तीन की स्वायत्ता को लेकर भारत क्या सोचता था, मिडिल ईस्ट को लेकर भारत की पॉलिसी क्या रही है, क्या इजराइल को लेकर और लेबनान और सीरिया ईरान के रिश्तों को लेकर भारत की सोच क्या है. हम एक तरफा अगर फैसला लेंगे,
एक तरफा कहां है? प्रधानमंत्री तो पैलेस्टाइन से भी बात कर रहे हैं, इजराइल से भी बात कर रहे हैं. मैं बस एक सवाल पूछ रहा हूं जो करण वर्मा ने भी पूछा, आप इसका जवाब दीजिए. जो लोग नसरल्ला को सेलिब्रेट कर रहे हैं, ये नसरल्ला कौन है?
तो सवाल ये तो भारत सरकार से पूछना चाहिए.
नहीं, क्यों भारत सरकार नहीं बोलेगी तो आप नहीं बोलेंगे?
दर्शन हुए बीजेपी ने करवाया.
क्या
सवाल है, बीजेपी खुद चाहती है, प्रधानमंत्री चाहते हैं, गृह मंत्री चाहते हैं कि भारत में इस तरह के चुनाव चल रहे, इस तरह के प्रदर्शन हो जिससे
कांग्रेस. एक मिनट IP सिंह जी, मैं क्षमा चाहता हूं आपसे. मेरी बैंडविड्थ इतनी नहीं है कि ये जो आपने ये जो लॉजिक एक्सटेंड किया मैं समझ नहीं पा रहा हूं. आप ये कह रहे हैं, देखिए आप मुझे बताइएगा कि क्या मैंने गलत समझा. आप ये कह रहे हैं कांग्रेस की जो अलाय है, कांग्रेस आपकी अलायंस पार्टनर है. आपके अलायंस पार्टनर की जो अलायंस पार्टनर है नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस, वो नसरल्ला को ग्लोरीफाई कर रही है, लेकिन आप कह रहे हैं कि बीजेपी करवा रही है। तो आप छोड़ दीजिए, कांग्रेस को बोलिए एनसी से छोड़ देना, उनका हाथ छोड़ देना, आप भी छोड़ दीजिए कांग्रेस। मैं अगर आपसे पूछ रहा हूं नसरल्ला टेररिस्ट था कि नहीं था?
मुझे तो अगर 1-2 मिनट तो बोलने दीजिए, आप तो बिल्कुल बिठा के रखा है, 1-2 मिनट तो बोलने दीजिए मुझे। मेरे कहने का मतलब है कि भारत की जो डिप्लोमेसी है, भारत की जो फॉरेन पॉलिसी है, उसको प्रधानमंत्री मोदी और विदेश मंत्री ने रसातल में पहुंचा दिया। यूक्रेन जाने का बार बार भारत को क्या फायदा हुआ? आप बताइए। रूस जाते रहे और जेलेंस्की ने भारत के प्रधानमंत्री से क्या कहा कि अगर आप शांति चाहते हैं तो रूस से तेल खरीदना बंद करिए। तो क्या प्रधानमंत्री मोदी ने
सर डिप्लोमेसी और किसी एक राज्य को चलाने में फर्क है।
क्या
इंडिया अपने इंटरेस्ट को छोड़ दे, इंडिया अपने इंटरेस्ट को छोड़ दे। ये डिप्लोमेसी ऐसी नहीं होती कि हम एक स्टेट स्पेसिफिक पार्टी है, समाजवादी पार्टी, कि हम तेल खरीदना बंद कर देंगे।
बताते हैं।
एक मिनट, मैं आपसे एक लार्जर सवाल पूछ रहा हूं। मैं एक सवाल आपसे पूछ रहा हूं। आईपी सिंह जी देखिए, आईपी सिंह जी सुन लीजिए देखिए, आप बड़े नेता हैं, सुनिए सर, सुनिए 1 मिनट। आईपी सिंह जी, एवरी टाइम द प्राइम मिनिस्टर सेज समथिंग, आप लोग ये बोलते हैं कि देखिए मणिपुर में क्या हो रहा है। ये मणिपुर कहां से आ जाता है बीच में? अगर प्रधानमंत्री बोल रहे हैं कि टेरर के लिए कोई जगह नहीं है, तो आप इसमें मणिपुर ला रहे हैं।
युद्ध के जैसे हालात हैं, न प्रधानमंत्री एक शब्द बोलते, न गृह मंत्री एक शब्द बोलते। चलिए प्रधानमंत्री नहीं गए, कोई बात नहीं। आखिर किसने हाथ पकड़ रखा गृह मंत्री का? क्यों नहीं आप बार बार जाते? क्यों नहीं पीस प्रोसेस नॉर्थ ईस्ट में बढ़ाया जाता? क्यों नहीं मणिपुर को का जो वहां के मुख्यमंत्री, उन्हें बर्खास्त किया गया? क्यों नहीं कार्रवाई हुई? एक रेप की घटना बंगाल में हुई, आपने पूरे देश में हंगामा कर दिया। अकेले लखनऊ में 5 रेप की घटनाएं 28 दिन में हुई। कम से कम 250 गैंग रेप उत्तर प्रदेश में हुआ। एक बार न माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने संज्ञान लिया, न महामहिम राष्ट्रपति ने लिया।
अब आप रेप की बात कर रहे हैं, देखिए रेप की बात आप उत्तर प्रदेश में कर रहे हैं, तो वो भी सबने चलाया था। अखिलेश यादव से भी सवाल पूछे गए, लेकिन आप अगर मैं उस पर पूछूंगा तो आप बोलेंगे कि देखिए आईपी सिंह जी अब आप अपनी बातों में फंस गए, अब आप अपनी बातों में फंस गए। करण, व्हाट इज आईपी सिंह ट्राइंग टू से एंड व्हाट इज ही ट्राइंग टू हाइड?
नहीं, प्रणेश, ही जस्ट सेड कि हमारी विदेश नीति धरातल पे चली गई है। मैं इनको बता दूं, हमारी विदेश नीति इस समय यह है दैट वी आर बाइंग ऑयल फ्रॉम रशिया, we are buying drones from US, we are buying S-400 from Russia, and we've managed to maintain good relations with all. We also have contracts, rebuilding contracts in Ukraine. I mean, he is the prime minister who has met all 3 heads of states, whether it is Putin, Zelensky and Biden, and has managed to secure India's interests from each and every nation. And for Vivek, विवेक बार बार कह रहे हैं इस्लामोफोबिक इजराइल। मैं इनको बता दूं 2018 में पैलेस्टीन का भी हाईएस्ट सिविलियन ऑनर प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी को मिला था। नॉट जस्ट पैलेस्टीन, बाकी मुस्लिम नेशंस का भी, कईयों का, सऊदी अरेबिया, यूएई का हाईएस्ट सिविलियन ऑनर हैज बीन गिवन टू द प्राइम मिनिस्टर। सो डोंट गिव दिस इस्लामोफोबिक लॉजिक। इनके हिसाब से सऊदी अरेबिया भी इस्लामोफोबिक है, बिकॉज हमास के फेवर में तो सऊदी अरेबिया भी नहीं खड़ी हुई है। एंड फॉर संजय झा टू से दैट दिस हैज बीन डन बाय द अमेरिकन आर्म्स लॉबी। हमास का ऑफिशियल मैनिफेस्टो, ऑफिशियल चार्टर है, वी वांट एलिमिनेशन ऑफ इजराइल, we want elimination of the Jew state. That he doesn't see as an act of aggression. That he doesn't see as the initiation of war. He sees America, which gives them weapons for self-protection, as an act of war. So look at the duplicity and look at the hypocrisy, Pranesh.
Sanjay Jha.
Pranesh, it is documented. It cannot be contradicted by any, fake news spreader like Karan on your channel.
No, don't get personal. Mr. Jha, this is not right. This is not right.
I'll have to call him a suspended Congress person and he will not like it.
I need to call him out.
He's call you a suspended Congress member.
No, call out the lies. No, 1 minute. Let's not get personal.
Congress member.
1 minute.
I don't resort to that, Sanjay Jha.
1 minute. Mr. Jha, please. Let's be civil, please.
Here the data, Pranesh. Israel has received $260 billion from America. The aid comes with a condition that you have to spend $260 billion.
I understand that. I am talking about the larger principle, Mr. Jha.
Why? That is the fundamental point.
No, the fundamental point is the October 7 attack. Israel has all the right to defend its people.
Yeah, just hear me out. Just hear me out. Tell me, why is the biggest and the most powerful country in the world not able to stop Israel in Gaza when Israel is entirely dependent on the United States? Because it suits the United States defense industry to perpetuate the war in Ukraine and Gaza and now in Lebanon and possibly create a bigger war in the Middle East. It is all commerce and industry for the states. Let's understand that very clearly. There's no geopolitical assessment, Pranesh.
Okay, so you are saying, so you believe that this is the US-Israel understanding and the Prime Minister is oblivion to what is happening and is falling in the trap.
India is happy to buy Pegasus from Israel, I guess, and snoop on all the politicians.
Come on.
And it opposes the government.
Come on, Sanjay Jha.
Who bought Pegasus from Israel?
Okay, Twin Sina, answer that question. Failure of foreign policy.
Pranesh, both Sanjay. No, I think, it's the most successful foreign policy. They are proudly saying, that Nehru prevented diplomatic ties with Israel. That was one of Nehru's his Nehruvian blunders. We should have had diplomatic ties with Israel from 1950. But anyway, the point over here is both Mr. Jha and Mr. Srivastava seem to be confirming what I have said. Their entire politics is about converting the perpetrator into a victim. Today, if you look at just Israel and Palestine, one of the successes of our foreign policy is to dehyphenate the two. We have brilliant equations with Israel and Palestine trust us.
Yeah, but let's not take away anything from what the Prime Minister in his post says. He's talking about peace. He says there is no space for terror. I don't think there should be agreement on that. Let's all come together, speak in one voice, at least against terrorism. I thank some of you for joining us on debate number 1. Viewers, let's move.